Welcome to Leaders of the West, a podcast for innovators and changemakers. I'm your host, Jessie Jarvis, the founder of the West, and I'm sitting down with agriculturalists, entrepreneurs, executives, and everyone in between with the goal of digging into the strategies, mindsets, and lessons that have been crucial to the success of Ag and Western. Whether you're carrying on the next generation of your family's operation, starting something from scratch, or determined to climb up the leadership ladder, we're going to inspire you to continue to dream big, growing not just you, but the future of agriculture and Western as a whole. Let's go. Welcome to the first solo episode of 2025. And I have to admit, you guys, this is the first time in a couple of months that I have sat down to record a podcast. I had a fine layer of dust over top of my microphone, which is kind of embarrassing. And when I went to plug it into my computer, not only did I have to actually log in to our program, whereas, if you're often checking something or often doing something, you're just automatically logged in. So I had to log in to the studio that we record this in. And then I also had to repair my microphone and my computer. It was we haven't had this plugged in a long time. What is this thing that you're using? So I am back in the saddle again. We are here. We're ready to go. I am so thankful to have you guys here. Today, I want to talk with you guys about goals, which I know it's the start of the new year. It means obviously new goals. And I love setting goals, but I feel like at this point of the year, we're kind of over that new year, new me. We're tired of talking about goals, but I do have a quick little tidbit that I do want to share with you guys on this topic, because I think that we can all kind of attest to the fact that the intentions that we set forth on January 1st often don't last throughout the year. We have all been there. We have set our goals or resolutions or whatever you want to call them for the year. And are we still doing those things in December of that same year? Probably not. And honestly, maybe that's because that we weren't actually that committed to the goal or the resolution that we set. Maybe we changed our path and maybe it didn't really fit with where we were in that path. Or maybe we had really great aims, but life's hectic nature just got in the way. And whatever it is, whatever the reason is as to why we set those goals or resolutions and then did not complete them, it doesn't necessarily matter. But what I want to talk today about is how can we set forth to achieve our goals and stay on track while knowing that life is going to happen. And like I said, I know that we just talked about goals in the last solo episode, and I know a good percentage of us are probably tired of hearing about this, but I do think that this is really important. So did you guys know that the majority of people don't make it past January 14th with their resolutions or with their goals? January 14th is actually called Quitter's Day. It is so common for people to not stay on track with their resolutions past January 14th that it legitimately has a name, Quitter's Day. And I am not about to call anybody out for being a quitter. I have had those instances myself, and I am totally not proud of them, but I also think that they have a silver lining of kind of lighting a fire in us to ensure that we are not quitters ever again. In life, when I have been a quitter, I look back on that and I am so disappointed in myself that I use that as fuel to never be a quitter about something. So I think that there's definitely good that we can pull out of those situations. So what does this episode have to do with Quitter's Day being last week? If you have your goals or resolutions and you have not quit, you are a rock star. You are ahead of the pack. You've already achieved something that most people have not. And that in itself should be all that you need to keep moving forward. You are doing more than everybody else. That is your pat on the back. Keep going. If you are somebody who has quit, if you are resonating with the idea of January 14th, last week having been Quitter's Day, that is okay. I just want to relight that fire inside of you. So if you have failed or you've skipped or you missed, there is still a lot of time to get back on track and still achieve whatever your heart is set on. First things first, though, you do actually need to make sure that your heart is actually set on the goal. Do you actually want the goal or the resolution that you put together whenever you were doing those? Or were you just high in the moment of things that you think that you should be doing? Or everybody else is doing it, so I should be doing it too. Maybe it's cold plunging, right? Well, everybody else is cold plunging, so I need to be doing cold plunging. If that is not something that your heart is set on doing for whatever reason, pick something that your heart is set on doing. If it's health and wellness, maybe figure out something different that is going to achieve that goal or be a very similar resolution. You don't have to do things just because other people are doing them. That's a very silly reason to set resolutions, but it happens to a lot of us. So first things first, definitely make sure that your heart is on track and that those resolutions that you have set or those goals that you have for the year, that they align with your purpose and who you are. Because if they don't, chances are you are not going to achieve them because you don't really want to achieve them. And you've got to have the want, you've got to have the passion, you've got to have that fire inside. Now, here's my tip for those of us who we've quit, maybe on, before, or after Quitter's Day, and we want this message to kind of realign us and relight us, but our goals and our resolutions, they are things that we're passionate about. We know that there's something that we want to achieve. Maybe life has happened, right? I can't believe I'm actually going to use this as an example, but here we are. I think there is something that we can actually learn from video games. And I want to preface this by saying, I don't think that I've ever actually played a video game in my life. Oh, okay, actually, that's not true. I had a friend growing up and her brothers had Madden. I remember when I would go over to her house, Jacqueline Ferry, I would play Madden with her and her brother Ben. And I was terrible at it and I didn't really understand the game. And I think the only reason that I liked it was because it was something that I didn't have at home. But I will tell you, I am also one of those parents who, if I didn't have it or need it growing up and I survived without it, then my kids aren't going to have it. So we are a no video game household. That's how that works around here. But I still do think that there is something really, really beneficial that we as humans can all learn from video games. When a player starts a game for the very first time, whatever game it is, aside from Madden, and isn't there like Fortnite or something? Okay, those are the only two games that I've ever even heard of probably. But you start on level 1. And then after cracking level 1, you're allowed to move on to level 2 and so on and so forth. Obviously, mastering the game as you go. Somebody may get stuck on level 7 for games on end until they figure out whatever skills are needed to move forward so that they can get to level 8. So what exactly do video games and levels have in common with our personal and professional goals? When we are trying to jump right out of the gate on January 1, we are often trying to start ourselves at level 10. When we haven't even tried to master the goal or the task or the habit, whatever it is that we're setting forth to do, we've not tried level 1 through level 9. We're just trying to start on level 10. Well, no wonder we fail miserably and we can't keep a good thing going past January 14th. We're starting typically in the wrong place. I think instead we really need to focus on doing those small tasks that we can easily manage and then stacking them together like bricks on top of one another until we've mastered them, then moving on to what's next that is going to help us achieve that same goal or resolution that we've set forth. So let's say that your goal for 2025 is to work out 5 times a week, but you didn't work out 5 days in 2024. Instead of attempting to drag yourself to the gym every day, start with something small that's going to allow you to level up to the goal of working out 5 times a week. Maybe that's a daily goal of 10,000 steps, which would require you to probably go on a walk, a 10-minute walk 3 times a day. Or you wake up and you get your first 30 minutes of walking on the treadmill to start yourself on the right foot. Because if you have this goal of, I'm going to work out 5 times a week, and you do that for 2 weeks in a row, and then you never do it again, do you think that you have done your body better than if you walked your 10,000 steps a day every single day for 365 days? No, you would absolutely be better off if you had that consistency of getting in your 10,000 steps versus I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week and I do it for a couple of weeks and then I don't do it for 4 months and then I go to the gym for a couple of weeks, 5 times a week. Like, it is consistency. In all things in life, it is consistency. But in order to get to that consistency, we really have to continue to stack those little levels on top of one another until we can reach that level 10, which is going to the gym 5 days a week, right? So using this same working out 5 days a week, 10,000 steps example again, once you make the space for getting your steps in, which is that level 1, it would be a lot easier to commit to steps and then working out once a week And you could do that for a month, which would be level 2, followed by still getting in those 10,000 steps every day and then working out twice a week, which is level 3, until you work up and build that consistency and honestly the confidence and the habits that will allow you to be consistent in working out 5 times a week. And that same concept of leveling up can be applied to any type of business or personal goal or professional goal. And it's very, very similar to the goal setting framework that I've taught you guys, which would have been the last solo episode that you listened to. And if you're somebody who recently enrolled in Be a Maker School, I talk about it there as well. But I think it is so important for those of us who are really set on doing better and being better and trying new things and building new habits or trying to take ourselves to new heights, if you will. It all comes back to consistency. Who would have ever thought that I would be giving credit to video games? But I think that consistency and taking on those bite-sized levels and really stacking them together is what is going to take us to the top to help us achieve those goals. So I hope that that is helpful for those of you who are needing to relight that fire. If Quitter's Day applies to you, it is okay. There are a whole lot of us out there, and there's still about 49 weeks left in the year for us to get it back on track. So do not hang your head. Start today. Go kick some tail. I am absolutely rooting for you and cheering you on. If there's anything I can do to help, you guys know where to find me. And of course, we will be back here next week with another episode of Leaders of the West. Can't wait to see you then.
If you loved this episode, do us a favor and share it with someone else who might find just as much value in it as you did. We're on a mission to continue to grow and strengthen the future of agriculture and Western industries, and you spreading the word helps us make more of a positive impact. It also makes a big difference when you take a minute to go rate and review the show. We can't thank you enough for listening, for sharing, and for loving Ag and Western as much as we do. We'll see you back here for our next episode.